We begin?
Mm-hmm.
So we are all set whenever you put us live.
Stand by, please. Your meeting, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Welcome everybody to the Commission on Aging virtual meeting for April 8th. I'd like to have everybody enjoy the nice April weather. At any rate, I'd like to call the meeting to order. And at this point, I'd like to amend the agenda and move the Area Agency on Aging up right away. That'd be item number 6. Let's move that up to item number 2 so Don can give his report. Do I need to have a motion and approval for our agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approved? Don, you're on. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you for accommodating me. As I was saying before, it was fragmented as far as my ability to participate in the AAA meeting on Monday. But we did go over the CASUTA grants. There were 3 out of 4 that were funded. I'm afraid I don't have specifics on that, but the donor for the grant and his daughter both participated in the process this year, which was nice. They were non-voting members of the committee, but nonetheless, they were able to see what sorts of uses are being made with their money, which is always nice for a donor. We also finished up our completion of the what do you call it? The video series we were watching.
Oh yeah.
And
I was watching it too, and I can't remember.
Isn't it so cool though?
Yeah, it was really good. Oh gosh.
The Uncomfortable Truth series.
Yep.
That's it. Yeah, and it is. It just brings to light some things that at least for myself just take for granted and don't really consciously recognize as being privileged or discriminatory or what have you.
Right.
It's just anybody who has an opportunity to look at that series called The Uncomfortable Truth, I very much encourage it. And that's all I've got.
All right.
Okay. Any questions for Don before Don is excused? Okay.
One last thing, I guess. This is my last meeting. I've told Jill that I'm not going to ask for reappointment, as is today. I am just bouncing off the walls, busy business-wise, and which is a good thing, but it also stretches me where I don't feel like I can contribute the way I should be contributing to the commission.
Well, thanks for all your hard work that you've been doing for the commission, Don, and also for the good representation for the AAA. We'll miss you, but thanks very much for all your work.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Good luck to you, Don.
Good luck. Yeah. Bye.
Thank you.
Don, are you still going to be on AAA for a while?
Another year.
Okay, good. Okay. So it's nice to have Don as representation from Fitchburg, and we also have Sharon Trimboard, who sits on the AAA Nutrition and Wellness Committee. So it's really important to have, like I said, people from Fitchburg sit on those Dane County boards. So thank you for that, Don, too. I know you're spread really thin, so we appreciate you serving on the commission, and you won't be lost on us. I'm sure I'll reach out to you again sometime.
Oh, if you need me, call me.
Absolutely.
All right. So long. Thanks, everybody.
Bye. Thanks, Don.
Okay, let's move back then to item number 2 on the agenda, the approval of the minutes. After reviewing the minutes, are there any additions or corrections? Barbara, you usually have something.
You don't need to find anything.
Okay, if there are no additions or corrections, do I hear a motion for approval?
I'll move approval.
Second.
Did you catch the second there, Jill?
Linda or Ruth? or Barb? Who was it?
Alice.
Whoever. Okay.
Either.
Or Alice. All right, I'll just put somebody's name down.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. There are no public appearances for non-agenda items, so we will move to the report from the Senior Center Friends. Judith. Judith, I can't hear you.
There were no agenda items either?
Well, these are the agenda items.
Oh, okay. Let me get the paper here. So remember the pancake breakfast in April 25th. So just a reminder of that. And if you have any questions about the details, that's in the Prime News and Fitchburg Star, and I think there's posters hung up at the lower part of the senior center. We've had lots of calls about our trips, but apparently people are not quite ready to commit. So there haven't been too many commitments, but people are still very interested. It may come later because I know for myself, I don't really want to commit yet. And we spent $770 on special needs.
Mm-hmm.
And we did vote on either meeting in person or via Zoom, and I think it was 6-6, with some people not voting. So we're not quite ready, I guess, to come back.
Okay. So I was just going to comment about the virtual pancake breakfast, because we've had a couple calls and, they're like, well, is Hy-Vee catering it? Is it at the senior center? So, you look at posters and we know what we're talking about, but so people are calling. So that's a good thing. And I guess just to clarify, it is at Hy-Vee Marketplace Grill, and you can go and eat there pretty much all day long, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And if you can mention that you know this is a fundraiser for the senior center, then 10% of your bill will go back to the Friends. And so it's a wonderful fundraiser, and we don't have to flip a lot of pancakes. So that's really nice. So you can get pancakes, but you really can get whatever you want. So
and it is curbside as well.
Oh, right. Yeah, you can just order online too and pick up or dine in. So Hy-Vee Market Grill. Don't come to the senior center. We will not be there.
And date again?
April 25th, right, Judith?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Judith. Any questions for Judith? Okay, time for the director's report.
Okay, let's see. Just talk about a few things at the center before I started talking about opening. We did start the kind of along the lines of Hy-Vee. The Friends are also partnering with Hy-Vee to buy their reusable grocery bags. They're really cute, and they say, "Does this bag make my heart look big?" And I think the bags are $2.50, and you get $1 will go back to the Friends. So you have to buy them at the Fitchburg Hy-Vee location. It was too difficult to sell them at the senior center with the policy we had to follow. So anyway, and then kind of along with that recyclable or reusable bag, we did start the plastic bag recycling drive, as well as brown paper bags, thanks to Dorothy suggesting that. And we already have a ton. I mean, we have a big garbage bin out there with a sign, and it's in the foyer area, so the doors are always unlocked. So people are coming fairly often, because every day I leave, it's filled up even more. So that's really nice. And then Kylie, our high school volunteer, is going to recycle these plastic bags in the proper way as part of she's on the environmental group at her school or something. So it was her idea to do this drive. So it's kind of fun. And then also the Friends had pre-purchased or are purchasing, I think, is it 10 bags, Judith?
I think 5 was all.
5,
No,
okay.
no, it is $25, so that would be.
Yeah. 10. So when you come and drop off your bags, there's little pieces of paper in a box, and you can put your name in there and phone number. And at the end of April, when the drive is over, we'll pull out 10 names and you can get a free reusable bag. So thanks for the friends for that incentive too. So let's see.
Hey, Jill.
Yeah.
Another note on that is that Pelletary is no longer accepting bundled plastic bags from our recycling bins.
Oh, that's
They're
good
only
to know.
taking them from grocery stores because they're not coming to them clean enough from our bins.
Oh, interesting. Did that just start this month?
Yes.
There was a news story.
Well, no wonder our bucket is filling up. That makes sense now. Okay.
So they're saying take those bags to grocery stores or other outlets rather than putting them in your bin.
Well, you can bring them to the senior center and Kylie will deal with it. So wonderful. Ruth, you have something?
Yeah, about these reusable Hy-Vee bags that we should buy.
Yeah.
Is Hy-Vee reimbursing Fitchburg Senior Center no matter who buys it, or do we have to specifically say?
No, it's whoever buys that bag. It's kind of like they pick a nonprofit every single month. So we got the month of April because it coincided with this. Yeah, so anybody can buy those bags. You don't have to mention that it's for the Fitchburg Senior Center.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for clarifying that, Ruth.
And did you say it's only for the month of April?
Correct.
Okay.
They'll always sell the bags. They always sell them. It'll just be starting in May. It's another nonprofit that will get $1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
And Dorothy, thank you for letting us know about the plastic bags in the dumpsters, because I just realized that we could do that. So I've been just beginning to do that. Now I got to get back out of the habit. So I'll just take it to the senior center from now on.
There we go.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have to just do that full on, like the food pantry. You know, we just have a bucket and then Kylie can continue to do this as a kind of a service project for school. So I better ask Kylie first, but sounds like a good idea. I'm super excited about our language line services that finally got approved last month, and we got trained on it yesterday. So we're up and ready to roll in terms of if someone calls the senior center and is non-English speaking, we can punch in a number and get a translator online for, over 30 languages. And so I'm really excited about that. And then we can also, if the social workers are at somebody's home, they can use it on their iPad or their iPhones or whatever. So anyway, that feels really good. And again, the credit goes to Eric Miller, our social work intern, who does speak Spanish, who is working with Dane County to really try to increase our outreach to the Hispanic population. And so anyway, that should be active and live. And, as time goes on, hopefully people will use it. So let's see, we're still working with the Edgewood student nurses. We've got 7 students that are working with Amy and Sarah that are partnered up with older adults, doing a lot of phone calling and some face-to-face visiting and just supporting these older adults. And then I have 4 other 4th-year nursing students that come to the center every Thursday and deliver meals. And then like this week, they're going to make some greeting cards for the apartments, like the Stamp It Up, where you make those cute cards and you have all those supplies because we had that donated. And they're going to do that with a few older adults today after lunch. And usually they'll invite 2 clients that they're working with and have lunch with them most Thursdays. So that's nice to have that kind of supplemental support. They'll all be done, including our social work intern, that first week in May. So we'll miss them. Let's see, kind of rolling into how we're going to reopen. It looks like, our opening date might be a little bit sooner just because now the vaccine is open to everybody. And so we are looking at, 2 weeks ago, it was June 1st to really just unlock and open the doors and welcome anybody, walk-ins, whatever. Now it might be middle of May. That's what the city is looking at too. But as Jim and I were talking before we went live, we're going to pilot Jim's men's group at the end of this month, where he is taking registration. So we need to cap numbers, because the only thing we have to worry about is 6 foot distancing. So it's not so much like, 5 people, 10 people, 40 people can be here. It's however many we can put in a room comfortably with that 6 foot distancing and mask wearing. So Jim's group is going to meet at the next Tuesday, Jim, maybe?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he's taking registration. We've always done the foot care. We're talking to our massage therapist. They're going to invite some clients back. One thing we have to be really clear to everybody coming in is we are not allowed to ask if people have been vaccinated. We are not allowed to restrict programs to people that are only vaccinated. So it's really, we cannot ask. And so if people call and say, well, do you know if everybody that comes to the men's group is vaccinated? I don't know, and I can't. I'm not allowed to ask. Now, if people want to share that information with each other, that's fine, but we cannot restrict programs based on your vaccination status. Do you have a question, Alice?
I did, but I lost it.
I'll keep rambling away. It'll come back. So anyway, so now really so April's kind of like we're still figuring things out. We got a call. We've had a conversation with Dane County. Forever when we went to when we shut our doors and we had to move most of our congregate meal people onto home delivered. We doubled our routes from 3 routes to 6 routes. So that's 3 volunteer drivers a day to 6 volunteer drivers a day. And then after asking older adults not to drive because it wasn't safe, we recruited a lot of new, younger volunteers, but we never were able to do Wednesdays. We just couldn't find enough drivers. We have several drivers doing 2 days a week. We have the transportation company, Transit Solution, delivering meals every week, once, if not twice, because they're not bringing people to the senior center. And the county has allowed us to do that, but now they're saying, and I didn't realize, we are out of compliance with our county contract because we're not serving food 5 days a week. So we're kind of scrambling now because we're losing some of our younger drivers. They have summer jobs and that sort of thing. We're losing some of our regular drivers who are going to go back to their golf league. People start to travel. We've had some new drivers, but they're replacing the ones that we've lost. And so we are sort of in a desperate plea to find at least 6 to 8 new drivers so we can continue delivering or open it up to Wednesdays. And so we're doing some recruitment now with RSVP and on the city website, and there should be an article in the Fitchburg Star. And then we're going to meet with Dane County to see what happens. What happens if we cannot recruit 6 to 8 new drivers, because we'll also lose Transit Solutions as they start bringing people back for lunch. So it's just this really fluid moving target that we can't quite seem to hone in on how we're going to accomplish this right now. Even if we look at bringing back some of our congregate people, it doesn't really change things, because I think that during the pandemic, people learned about this service, people that needed the service prior and didn't know. And so our numbers, they went from 35 to 50. Even if we took, say, 5 or 6 off to say, okay, we're going to bring you back to the center. Well, if 3 of them happen to live at a senior apartment building and we're taking 8 meals there, we still have to go there. If one of them is over at New Fountains and they start coming to the center, we still have 5 other people at New Fountains that will get meals. So it doesn't really change our routes, even if some people come back. Maybe for the drivers, the routes might be slightly shorter, so we could combine maybe 1 route. So, we're thinking at the very least we'll have 5 routes, and that won't ever go back to 3. Otherwise, drivers are driving around the city for an hour and a half or more, because each route is about an hour, and we're not allowed to have the food out on the road that long, because then it becomes a temperature issue. So anyway, Mandy's knee deep in trying to figure this out. It's just such a engineering feat to move all this driver stuff around. So anyway, we have to open. We have to start doing something on Wednesday starting May 1st. And we're going to meet with the county to see Maybe it's people come and pick up their meal. Maybe we identify the most people at the highest nutritional risk and we only deliver to them, and that's maybe 1 or 2 routes. So we're throwing a lot of stuff out there. So that's where that's at. Sorry. There's a lot in our heads right now. I'm just spewing it out to you. Regardless, we'll be opening up 5 days a week starting in May. Staff will be here. We'll go back to, doors are open 8 to 4. We're still trying to figure out, do we allow people to have coffee? Do we welcome them in to read the paper? There's just a lot of unknowns, and some of it is just going to be personal risk. We've gotten calls about that bread, the bread. And I'm like, that, for those of you that might not know, we got day old Panera 2 days a week or 3 days a week. We got Bread Barn. We got Pick and Save. It's a small bakery back in the corner there, along with a lot of sweets that you can have in your coffee. And I'll be darned if that's one of the most popular questions. And, I can't in good faith bring that back right now because of the risk of everybody handling food and that kind of stuff. But it does make me laugh that, that seems to be a very important service, and we will bring it back, but it's an undetermined time frame yet. So there's just a lot of things of, do we allow people to, take their own, it's at your own risk. If you come in, we will follow safety protocols, we will clean. Card playing is an issue. There's some groups that want to come back and play cards, but Dane County says 6 foot distancing. Well, you can't really play cards 6 feet away. Now, can a group come in that they're all vaccinated and they say, we talked amongst ourselves, so can't we play together? Because Dane County also says if you're in a small group and everybody's vaccinated, you don't have to wear masks. So it's just going to be confusing for a while, and we're just accepting that fact. And so people might call and get a vague answer because we really don't know. What we do know is we are going to bring back more classes in April, exercise classes. We can do that 6 foot apart up in the.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
I remembered my question.
Oh, go hurry up, Alice.
Yeah. But because I have heard many times people say it's only a 3 feet distance now.
That's only for grade school. It's only for schools.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, whether that changes. Nice. Right. That would change everything, not just for us, but like even transportation, because if people are riding the bus to come to the center, it's 6 feet apart on the bus. So that means we were doing, 12 to 15 to 17 people coming for lunch. And if the bus can only bring 3 people at a time, we'll literally be serving lunch from 9:30 a.m. to about 2 p.m. because we'll have to shift them. So it's just all of that stuff I can't quite wrap my head around. And so again, Dane County is changing, it's pretty fluid. So we're just going to kind of ease our way into this. But for exercise, it definitely is 6 foot apart. We'll bring that. And we also will be doing Zoom / in person. So we're working with the instructors where, like I was saying to Jim, we can put the camera on them far enough away where somebody can Zoom in or they can be there in person. Aerobics is going to be limited to 12 person. It's going to be a sign up only, at least for May, because we have to manage how many people, fit in that distancing. Tai Chi is coming back a little easier because they're more stationary. So I think we can do up to 16. Book clubs aren't going to come back yet. Caregiver support might come back. So again, very fluid, but you'll see a change. There'll be some more activity at the center. Also, Mandy, in this sort of chaos, we had been approached by Little John's. I don't know if all of you are familiar with Little John's. Oh, no, okay. And if I don't explain it right, maybe Dorothy, you can chime in. But Little John's is a nonprofit coordinated by Chef Dave Heidi, who owns Liliana's. And what they've partnered with Metcalf's to take food from the grocery store that's either, it's past the best if used by, or maybe it's dented produce that they can't sell. It's not old food, I can tell you that, but they're getting food every day from Metcalf's, and then they're making these wonderful meals. I know they're doing a lot with the Boys and Girls Club. They package the meals and then they have drive-bys And again, Dorothy, if you know more, you can expand on what it is, but they've approached us to do some meals for us. And the timing was great because we weren't doing meals on Wednesdays. So we started to pilot with them just a few weeks ago, where we send out a consolidated meal from the county on Tuesday, plus a Little John's meal. And then that means they can have a meal Tuesday and a meal Wednesday. And Little John's is giving us extra food on Fridays so people can have food over the weekend. So again, it's very new. We're going to meet with Dane County. There's a few concerns and policy stuff that we have to abide by, but it looks like a fantastic opportunity that maybe we can pursue as Little John's continues to meet the qualifications that Dane County puts forth, and maybe they are our food provider eventually. So anyway, a lot of possibilities out there. The food is fantastic. It's fresh. It looks beautiful, and nothing about I don't want to talk badly about Consolidated, but they're making thousands of meals at 7 a.m. and by the time they get to us, they've been in the cooker or the warmer for several hours. And those of you that work in the kitchen, you've seen sometimes what those vegetables might look like, or very different than Little John's, who can do it very fresh and get it over to us hot or cold. We have that option. So lots of fun possibilities that we'll be pursuing as time goes on.
Are they providing, like on Tuesdays, we run out mostly $49.50 meals from Consolidated. But is Little John's giving us that many?
Yeah, really? As many as we want.
They cover everybody, huh?
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, very generous. And at this point, it's all, there's no cost to us. They're not asking for a donation or anything. But what a great way to use up food that might go into the landfill that is still really great food. So, yeah.
Great.
And they've got their Super Bowl Saturday coming up this Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Benefits Habitat for Humanity's. That is happening at Little John's. They're saying orders must be placed by Friday, April 9th at midnight. $10 bowl of soup, and they choose a ceramic bowl for you for another $10. So it's a handmade ceramic bowl.
Dorothy, where are they located?
Little John's?
Yeah.
If people know where Mounds is on.
Oh yeah.
On
Verona, Williamsburg.
Verona Road, right by New Fountains Apartments.
Okay.
It's there.
You know what else I forgot? And I don't know if this is still going to happen, but we were talking about doing a drive-by. And that was obviously before we were told we had to open. So we were going to do some sort of event with Little John's in May, kind of for Older Americans Act, and make it more kind of a celebration. So it's just occurring to me right now that we might be open to. So anyway, you'll see us partnering with them more and more.
I put the link in the chat.
Thank you. Thank you. So let's see. I sent you guys information about Aging Advocacy Day. I'm hoping to see more participation, statewide. Like that's part of my role as the Wisconsin Association of Senior Centers legislative liaison, is to get people engaged in advocacy. So hoping more people will participate because it's virtual. And, you'll get more information when you register. They'll do a training, I think May 10th. And they'll also be videotaping it. So if you miss it, you can, look at the training another time. But they kind of clump together people in districts, and then you do this training. And then when you meet with, there'll be Zoom meetings with legislators or their aides. And your group will identify who might be the primary speaker on a certain issue. So maybe you'll bring 3 topics forward to that legislator based on the issue briefs from WAN, which is the Wisconsin Aging Advocacy Network. Housing is on there, transportation, caregivers, broadband. Anyway, there's a ton of links and information when you sign up. But so if you do have questions, just give me a call and I can kind of walk through it too. And then moving forward, I wanted to talk a little bit about, so several years ago, we put in the CIP to replace the countertops around the sink in the back and the sinks in the front. For those of you that volunteer, the laminate has bubbled, particularly in the back. It's really bad. In fact, the laminate is peeling away from the press board. And so we're going to put in the steel countertops. The money had already been in there. We just hadn't made a move on it. So we've got some bids in. I'm just waiting to hear back from finance. So we're hoping to get those countertops replaced within a month or so, a month. And then for next year's CIP, I'm going to bring something up. So I put something through. As we've learned, outdoor space is really important. I think people really started to realize that more than ever during this pandemic. And, last year we invested in some outdoor furniture that was very weather resistant. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought how nice it would be to have an extra patio space out there to get more furniture and to hold small group meetings. Maybe the book club would want to sit outside if it's a nice day. We've got 12 people. Well, people are waiting for the bus. Sometimes they pull the chairs out or they sit on the little ledge outside while they're waiting for the bus, that we would have this nice, warm, inviting space out there. So I talked to Public Works, looking at some sites outside. So the ideal space would be that extra handicap parking that kind of parallels the side of the dining room. It kind of backs up to the building there. But that's where all the air handlers are, and it's really, really loud. So then we kind of flopped back. So all of you envision walking up to the senior center on the sidewalk, and there's a big concrete patio right in front of that big window. Shift to the left where the trees are, but along the building there. Working with Public Works, we could extend that patio about 12 by 18 out in that area without a lot of grading. And then I envisioned, I'll show you what I think in my head is, can you see this?
Not yet.
Okay, hold on. Oh, let me share it. How about that?
That would help.
Yeah, that helps. Okay, something like this. So initially I said, I wanted like a trellis, something that there's not a ton of sun. So that's not a huge concern, but it creates this very comfortable outdoor seating environment that just feels, for lack of a better word, cozy. So this is a company that the city has worked with for a lot of the park shelters. And so it was a very preliminary, hey, I'm looking at this just to get some pricing because I really didn't know. The grading in the concrete came in at about $3,500. And again, I've confirmed that several times with the director of Public Works, Bill Balke. So, but this type of trellis, much to my surprise, came in at $30,000. And so this is a bit bigger. It's a 16 by 18. And why it's so expensive is because that top portion is sort of this inlay, or it's a covering that might be more of a fabric type material that's commercial grade, that has these little cutouts. And so that's very expensive. In fact, that was almost half the price, this $15,000. But it gave me sort of an idea of what we're looking at. So a couple board members came out from the Friends to just talk about what I was thinking. And long story short, I put it in the CIP. I'm going to stop sharing this. For $20,000, because we're not going to do something that elaborate with the top inlay. We can do something without that covering, or we can do some, say, trellises on the side that would hide the driveway as people are driving around. So it would just give a little bit of a privacy setting. And again, that sort of expensive top, I don't feel like we needed that. And so I reduced it to $20,000. because I feel like we can get something very nice for 20,000 that's more commercial grade. And then Judith, I don't know how that conversation went, but I asked the Friends to support some fundraising efforts so the city wouldn't have to pay for it all. And I thought that it would be a nice partnership with the center and the Friends, and something a little bit more tangible and exciting to fundraise for. A lot of the stuff we fundraise for is like this need, and this is really a want. It's something fun, and it kind of extends the welcoming seating area out to the outdoors. You know, people are coming in and reading the paper. Maybe on a nice day, you bring the paper outside and you have a nice space to read. Maybe you just want to visit with friends before your class or something like that. So I think, Judith, the Friends did agree to help me fundraise. Is that correct? Do you remember an amount? Wait, you're on mute.
Sorry. Yes. And I think we were thinking 10,000.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, I'm going to put that forward. I didn't bring you my CIP because it's literally 2 lines. One says 20,000, one says 35 for the concrete. Go ahead, Jim.
As a former engineer, I'm looking at that diagram.
Yeah.
That's 16 by 18.
Yeah.
There's very little support. I'd be concerned about snow load on that sitting out there. It seems to me like it would collapse under a heavy snow. You might consider something it's more porous.
Right.
But on the other hand, you also want to consider something that if there's a light rain or drizzle like today, somebody could sit out there.
Right.
And maybe some sort of a pitched roof or something might be worth considering. Is there room between those trees? There are 2 rows of trees for that. Do you have to take some of the trees down?
No, we would kind of be several feet. It would stop several feet away from those trees. So we wouldn't touch the trees at all.
Okay.
And to your question about the durability of those, the top, I don't think we will get something like that because that inlay on the top was like $16,000. You could see it in the pricing quote. And so the gentleman that sent me the quote, he's going to come by next week and we're going to chat a little bit more. Unfortunately, I just came about this idea last week and the CIP was due yesterday. And so
one other thing about the location is that abutted up against the wall with the windows of the signing room.
No, I didn't want to do that because I didn't want a distraction from people that were in the signing room because you can see even if you put the shades down. So it will stop there. There's actually a big brick piece that it would go in front of. So I did take that into consideration. Again, you put this stuff in now, as Dorothy knows, the CIP isn't even approved until almost July. So we have a little bit, I think, of wiggle room to really kind of define what we want. And again, it's not even until 2022. But who knows, maybe with the Friends support, we can pour the patio if we can fundraise this fall and still sit out there and then do the trellising when the CIP money comes available if it's approved. So I'll keep you in the loop about that and that process. So, you might
want to check in with fire department and make sure that whatever you're looking at will be okay per their codes.
Sure. Well, and also too, Dorothy, anything you do to the outside of that building has to get architectural approval from ProMega. Because years ago, that land was donated, am I correct, Dorothy, from ProMega to build the community center? So they have the final say about any outdoor things that are put in that area. So there's a long road ahead.
ProMega is the reason it took so long to get solar panels on the library.
Yeah, and signage. We had to do a lot of that with what the signs were. So anyway, we'll see where that goes. And let's see. Other than that, I am excited today at 2. I'm going to sit on a community panel that is going to interview the 4 candidates for city administrator. And then tonight there's a reception. If you're interested, you can Zoom in and watch. or you can come into City Hall, the council chambers, from 6:30 to 7 and meet the candidates. I think in the beginning, they do a sort of a 5-minute maybe overview about themselves. And then they're available to the public for questions. So again, you can zoom in, and maybe after the meeting, I can send you the information again. Anyway, I think that the council will make a recommendation at the end of this month. Is that correct, Dorothy?
The mayor makes the recommendation.
The mayor does, yeah. So be looking at a new city administrator, I guess, coming up soon. So, and then Mandy is actually on a committee that will be, she's not driving, thank God, but she will be in the vehicle that drives the candidates around the city, and talks, shows them all the different neighborhoods and talks about it. So she and 2 other city employees will be taking the candidates around tomorrow. So.
And I really hope they spend some time up in the north tier instead of just kind of brushing that off as, oh, that's the ugly parts. We don't want to show them the ugly parts.
If Mandy's in there, that will happen for sure. She will make sure. So I think that is all I have on my list here. Any other questions?
Okay, any announcements? Well, this might be an announcement or a follow-up to the director's report. I'm hearing feedback from members of the community about their concern now that they were thinking about, okay, when is the right time to move into not assisted living, but with transitional assisted living type places. And but with COVID, they have some apprehensions about moving into one of those type of places and then getting locked in and they can't get out. And so now they're thinking, stay at home, and what kind of services are available for elderly who want to age in place rather than going off to assisted living. So I'm just wondering, are you hearing more about that? And are there going to be more, is there going to be more assistance to help people that are trying to age at home?
Well, there's as much assistance as you can afford. There's always, there's ways to stay at home. There's plenty of resources, but a lot of the opportunities are based on your income levels. So, it depends on what level of care you need. Again, what your income level is. Do you have family around? But that's, we did just have a Zoom presentation in February or March that talked about the different levels of housing and when is it time. And Ruth has been really involved in those presentations in the past about when is a good time to move and what kind of works for you. And it's, one size doesn't fit all. It's so individual. When I look at my parents, they could have stayed home, but they couldn't because finances were an issue. And my dad was a primary caregiver and my mom had dementia. And so for a while, could we bring somebody in? Well, possibly, but nobody lived where they lived. And so there's so many factors that go into the decision to either stay at home or move. And all I can say is make an appointment with Amy or Sarah and talk through what your needs are, know what your income is, that unfortunately plays such a big role in how the future of your care is what it's gonna look like. I will say Dane County is full of resources for people that don't have higher income limits. We're blessed to live in this county or age in this county. So there are a lot of programs that people can access that meet the income requirements. But again, it's so individual based on family support, based on where you live. Are you on a bus line? Are you not on a bus line? Do you need personal care or do you just need a friendly visitor? Are you in a senior apartment where you might be a little safer versus in your own home? So again, I couldn't answer that. You really have to look through a lot of things
So a good place, if somebody is wondering about that, they should just contact Amy or Sarah, and they'll help them through the process.
I will say, for the first time since I've been around, I mean, the influx or the interest of building and what we're seeing for senior housing in Fitchburg is really booming. I think Dorothy can, add on, but, we've got the luxury senior housing over by Target that's opening up, I think, this summer. We've got the interest in, I don't know if it's called River Song or Wind Song or whatever up by Uptown. Looks like it's independent and assisted. We have the High Line now that's affordable. And I feel like there's another developer that has expressed interest in building here. So I am happy to say that people that want to stay in Fitchburg and age in place, maybe you don't have to move outside of Fitchburg. Maybe you will move into a senior housing, but I think you're going to have more options. So that's good news. Again, affordability is to me is the first question to ask: is how much money do you have, and let's see how you can make that money last. So
one of the lesser known options that we do have in the city now is if you have enough money, again, and you have a space that you would be able to convert in your house or on your property to a small, almost independent living apartment, you can do an accessory dwelling unit for a family member or other caretaker to live on your property, kind of live in help.
Right.
That is available as a conditional use in all residential areas right now.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So
People just don't know it exists.
yeah.
Another thing, Jill, I wanted to mention on the 5 o'clock news this morning when I was drinking my coffee.
Up at 5.
They were talking. They had a special on some place, I can't remember where it was, but the point was they had a senior Zoom experience, just a social get together. They were interviewing the people. There was a 92-year-old lady, 97-year-old guy that they're at home isolated, and they were just raving about how the senior center, wherever it was, provided this opportunity for them to just on a regular basis get together and chat and talk and visit with people, and instead of sitting there by themselves in their house staring at the wall.
Well, I think that's a good idea, and Dorothy talked about that before. Like, as we move forward, Zoom will never go away. I think we've decided it's a great opportunity to keep people socially connected. For the folks that are more isolated, what I'd like to do is get iPads. Initially, it was hard to go into people's home because of COVID. There was too many restrictions. So because a lot of people don't know how to Zoom, so you have to train them. And a lot of people don't have internet, so you have to provide that internet access, which is a cost to either my department, maybe I go to the Friends, which they did pay for the student nurses that used iPads. We included a data plan with those iPads so the students could go in and do some televisits with our seniors. So there's another grant opportunity, and I'm just thinking as I'm speaking, that we could get more iPads, but we would want to pay for those data collections and then have, staff or volunteers. We could loan these out. And so maybe there's a presentation or a social opportunity so people could have these at home and log in. Or if they have their own, we certainly can teach them how to use them. But I think the Zoom opportunities are going to open up a lot of things, and it's a good thing. Yeah.
Okay, any other announcements?
Well,
there's one thing.
Oh, go ahead, Linda.
I don't know anything about the AARP webinars, but I noticed that AARP Wisconsin has one next week on livable communities, and it talks about the issues of aging. Are you familiar with that, Jill?
I have a lot of documentation about that. because it looks at everything a community offers, just
right.
walkability and bikeability and transportation and affordable housing. So yeah, I've looked through those documents before, because even when they're developing that hub up there, it connects a lot to the issues that, aging in place, that those are the things you want to look at. Well lit sidewalks, and even sidewalks that have coloring on them if there's any transitional things, like just ways that people can stay healthy within their own communities. But that's a great resource, Linda. I'm glad that you've looked at that. I don't know how to incorporate that. Like if we were doing another strategic plan, like that's the stuff we need to keep at the forefront, as we grow, for sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then lastly, we want to thank Dorothy. This is Dorothy's last meeting.
Thank you very much for serving for us, Dorothy. It's been a pleasure working with you.
I made a relatively conscious decision that I did not want to continue on council. Just the political environment and everything else has just gotten so ridiculous that it's become a burden to me. And I just have to let that burden down. So I am continuing on county board. One of the other organizations that I'm part of is the MPO. They're going to try to switch me from being a seat through Fitchburg to being a seat through my county board, because it's a seat for electeds. So I'd like to continue on that. And that's talking about all the different transportation issues in the area, which is pretty huge for me. So, and I keep pounding, we need full-time bus service to city campus for senior center, for community center, for the library. And even people might want to go to vote. Silly things like that, Right now, without all day, every day service to the city campus, we're not able to have paratransit options, which is more than a little bit ridiculous. So I think for the city to keep deciding that we don't want to bother to pay for bus service and in the past it's been largely because we don't envision ourselves using a bus, therefore why should we have to pay for it? I think council members really, really need to see the value of providing transit throughout the city. So I would dearly love it if you guys really help to push that, because it's critically important. It really is.
I think, Dorothy, the timing is right with the new transportation engineer. He's kind of learning about what was offered, but I see some passion there and some strong interest. And so, I think for the commission, I think that we could make that a priority. That, we talked about this before, is, you start engaging in the public process. If it's not on an agenda, maybe somebody shows up at a council meeting and says, hey, I want to comment about transportation and the need. And we just keep this at the forefront, because as they do continue to build senior housing, as we take on the town of Madison, like my stomach hurts thinking about how we're going to get people to the senior center. I just don't, I have no idea. And, again, it always comes down to, well, it's state. No, it's county. No, it's, local. Whose responsibility is it? And I think, it's better to start these hard conversations. Well, we've been having these conversations for 20 years. And so I think it's to the point, as we see this growth, south of Lacey, even with Uptown, we need to really address this and push this through. So I think that the commission is a perfect place for us to start to make it a priority and do some more stronger advocacy around that issue.
And bringing in the town of Madison, that includes a seniors building.
Right.
So it's not like, well, there might be a few around. It's like,
no,
there's a whole building
right.
of seniors.
And the other one will be, and the one in Uptown will be built by then as well. So, we're looking at probably at least 200 units, if not more. And, you know, not everybody wants to come to the center, probably. I don't know why not, especially if we have a brand new patio. So anyway, let's not wait for the crisis. We have some time. We don't take on town of Madison until October of 2022, but this is the time. We've got
that time is rushing up.
Oh, I know. It's making me have a stomach ache when I think about how we're going to deliver home delivered meals. That's a whole new route over there. You know, so now we're looking at 7 drivers a day. And so there's, these growing pains are, it's a good thing, but it's a little frightening if we don't have a nice solid plan. So I probably will be leaning on the commission more than I have in the past to say, help me figure this out, because it's an overwhelming thought of what's coming down the pike. I mean, we knew that the older adult population was going to explode. I didn't know that Fitchburg would see this kind of interest for senior housing. And then you throw that town of Madison on top of that. We have to be prepared. So thanks, Dorothy, for.
Are you saying the boomers are aging?
Yeah, they've been telling
dying.
They've arrived.
Shoot. But Dorothy, I appreciate your advocacy at all levels, and I don't feel like I think that your work is still there in terms of helping the underserved, and we'll be leaning on you. You're a resident.
Around.
Yeah, you'll be around. So I appreciate what you've brought to the table at the commission level and the council. So yeah.
Yes, and you've served for a very long time, so we really appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's been 10 years.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dorothy.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, any other announcements? Our next meeting is scheduled for May 13th. Zoom.
And by then we might be able to meet in person based on the city's timeline. So you'll have both options still. I think the city will, I have to confirm, but moving forward, will they always offer a Zoom option for all city meetings? I can't answer that fully. I think it's probably more work for Fact TV. So, but anyway, I'll touch base with you guys before I send out the agenda, just to gauge your interest in person. We do have a new member that will be appointed in April. Her name is Donna Stewart, and they moved to the area. They're relatively new, but her husband came in and started volunteering for meals, and Mandy was so good at saying, well, what's your wife interested in? And she's got a lot of experience on nonprofit boards, food pantries, just a passion to serve. And so I snatched her up real quick, and she agreed to serve. So she'll be appointed in April. So we'll have a new member to replace Don come May.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I hear a motion for adjournment?
Oh, I'll move that.
I
last.
All right, who's second?
I will.
All right.
Barbara? Okay.
Alice and Barb.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.
All right.